Hey, my name is Hena and this is part 3 of my January wrap-ups. In this part I'm going to talk about the last 5 books I read in January, although if I finish anything before the month is over, which is soon now, then I'll add that to this video at the end. So in this video I'm going to talk to you about 5 contemporary fiction books, 3 of which are young adult and 2 are middle grade. Because after finishing that big non-fiction book, which took me a while to read, if you've watched the previous video, I felt really in the mood for some easier to read books, and so I went to young adult contemporary because that is a genre that I really like and it tends to read a bit easier. So yeah, I really like it. Although this first one actually has some science fiction elements, so it's like part contemporary. Yeah. So this first book is I Hope You Get This Message by Farah Rishi, and this is, like I said, part contemporary and part some science fiction elements. Although I say contemporary, but it actually takes place, I feel like it wasn't like quite the nowadays, but like it was a bit earlier. But anyway, I can't see a year now. Here's the synopsis on the back. Basically, humanity gets this message from aliens that the world might end in 7 days. So it says here, when the news starts reporting that Earth has been contacted by a planet named Alma, rumors fly that the alien entity is giving civilization only a week before they hit the kill switch. And then it talks about our 3 main characters. So we have Jesse Hewitt, we have Kate Collins, and we have Adim Khan. And we follow the story from their perspectives. So we have chapters from each of their perspective, but they're not always in the same order. And in between, we then sometimes get like to see something to do with the aliens. So for example, a transcript from a trial, but you can't really see that. And yeah, I really like this. This is the first book that I read by this author. I really liked it. It talks about a variety of things. So I will just go in order based on what also it says on the back, because that kind of makes me feel how much I can tell you. Also, it's been a while since I read it. So Jesse, his mother, he lives with his mother, the teenagers, and so he's they're quite poor and they're struggling to pay the bills. His mother works a lot, but she doesn't get a lot of money for it. He's gay and he struggles with some mental health issues. That doesn't say that on the back, but I feel like I can tell you that. Then we have Kate, and it says here on the back, she's desperate to use this time to find the father she's never met. So Kate lives with her mother. She's never met her father. Her mother has severe mental health problems. She's mentally ill. Kate is often the one that supports her mother. And then we have Adim, whose sister left the family. She's a lesbian, and his family, with their religion, is not very supportive of that. He is, but his parents aren't. But she left and he misses her, and she doesn't want any contact with any of them. So there were a couple of interruptions. So I hope I've put the camera back in roughly the right place, and I honestly don't remember what the last thing was that I was saying about this book, because it's a while later now. Anyway, I really like this book. It reminded me a bit of We Are the Ants by Sean David Hutchinson, because that has a somewhat of a similar premise with the aliens and Earth possibly ending soon. But yeah, I enjoyed all. I liked reading about all of our 3 main characters, and yeah, this was an enjoyable read for me. The next book I finished, Love is for Losers by Wibke Brueggemann. This is a young adult contemporary, and the battery is empty. So here we are again with the second battery. I hope we are in about the same place. If only I could change my own batteries like that, but no. So I am already very tired in my head, sensory overload. Not many spoons left. Yeah, so this book is a young adult contemporary. It is sapphic. Our main character is called Phoebe, and the book is written like, so the chapters are like per like day, like that, which is story from Phoebe's point of view. So here is the back, and it says Phoebe Davis has opinions, most of all that love is for losers, but then she meets Emma and now she doesn't know what to think. Again, I have to try to remember because this was, for me, this was a few books ago. I really enjoyed this. Yeah, the back doesn't say a lot. Things I remember at this book is Phoebe ends up working, I think is it a charity shop where Emma works. Phoebe's mother is spends most of her time not actually at home with Phoebe, but being in other places of the world, helping there. Yeah, Phoebe doesn't have the best relationship with her mother and instead spends more time, because then when her mother goes away for like 6 months, Phoebe goes to live with her, is it her godmother or her aunt? Or both? I don't quite remember, but, and I don't know, I can't quite remember if it is her, I think it's her aunt. The aunt owns the charity shop, and I can't, is it a charity shop or a second-hand shop or like or is it vintage clothes or, yeah, I don't remember exactly the exact wording of the shop in the book, but I enjoyed reading about the shop and how things went there. I'm reading about Phoebe and yeah, sorry, I don't have much energy left, I'm afraid. I'm probably forgetting to tell you some things about this book, but I really liked it and I'm tired, I'm sorry. But yeah, I wanted to film these videos today and then I can hopefully edit some of them soon, and yeah. The next book I read is Hena on the Edge by A.J. Sass. This is a middle grade. We have our character Hena, and in this book, here is the bit on the back. Here is the flap inside, which you can read if you want to pause the video. So this book involves, as you can see, figure skating, US juvenile figure skating champion. Okay, so it says here, so Hena is not a fully dressed kind of kid. When Hena learns that the next season's program will be princess themed, that forms fast. Still, Hena tries to focus on training and putting together a stellar routine worthy of national success. Once Hena meets Hayden, a transgender boy new to the rink, and he mistakes Hena for a boy. Hena doesn't correct him. Yeah, so basically this is about a character who realizes, well, I mean, it literally says it right. So I guess it's okay to tell you. This is about a character that realizes they're non-binary. I really liked this book. I loved it. I could identify with Hena at certain points because I am not a fully dressed kind of person. And this is something that I've mentioned in various... I can't remember where we were because another interruption, but it's fine. It's fine, I don't mind. The only thing is I don't always remember what I was talking about before the interruption. I think I was talking about that I am also not a fully dressed kind of person, and that I've talked about this in various other videos. I think that's what I was saying. But, you know, we don't need to go into my... I love this book. I also really enjoyed reading about all the figure skating stuff. I don't know a whole lot about that myself, although I have read Tilly Walden's memoir, and I can't remember now the name of it, but that also involved, I think, figure skating. I think it was figure skating. But either way, I really love this book. The author is, I think, also non-binary, if I'm not mistaken, and so it's own voices, and you know, you can think various things about that if you want to. But yeah, I really like this. I could relate to the main character. And we definitely need books like this for middle grade children. I think the author said, yeah, I think the author said they wished there was a book like this when they were young. Because there is an author's note at the back, and the author said when they were Hena's age, they didn't know what it meant to be transgender. They didn't know the concept of being non-binary, and so yeah, I really like this. Not all of Hena's decisions for things that I necessarily agree with, but it all made a lot of sense. I really enjoyed reading this. I read it pretty quickly from what I remember. So Hena lives alone with their mother, and so the figure skating is expensive. Mother works a lot to pay for that. It is one of Hena's worries as well, because she doesn't want to cost her mother so much money. And sorry about the pronouns, because in the book Hena has she, her pronouns. Yeah, but also I don't want to spoil, so yeah. Hena doesn't want their mother to, you know, work hard and spend lots of money. Yeah, and the pronouns is, anyway, I enjoyed this book a lot. I find it a bit difficult now which pronouns, sorry, to use for Hena, but you know, read the book if you think it sounds nice, and I think it would also be nice for a middle grade, you know, for an older child or young teenager, yeah, to learn more what non-binary is, but also particularly for those who think that they might not be cis, so who think they may be trans, or who, you know, are questioning their gender identity. Yeah, I love this. Then we have No Fear by Mirjam Schippers. This is a Dutch book, and here is the back. I didn't know much about the book or about the author, but I saw this, I read the synopsis of this book somewhere and it sounded intriguing. This is a young adult contemporary. It's about Roos, and Roos got ill a few times close to each other, if that makes sense. And she is worried, is this just a normal stomach flu or is something else going on? And then in school she finds out that one of her teachers is, I don't know the correct terminology of this in English exactly, but one of her teachers is ill and can't be cured. You know what, I'm just gonna say what it is. He has bowel cancer. And so Roos starts to get a lot of anxiety, because what if she is really ill as well? So there is anxiety representation in this book. And this book actually, yeah, on one hand I want to say some of the things that happen, but they aren't on the back. But then on the other hand, it could actually sort of help. So yeah, but I won't put spoilers. But if you want to know, then let me know. But it's not on the back, and it does happen a little bit later on, so I won't spoil. I could relate to this main character in some aspects, some of which I can't say because spoilers. But anyway, one aspect less so, because the main character is a Christian. She goes to a Christian school. They read from a certain part of the Bible, I think, and so that part I didn't relate to personally, because I'm not religious, but it was nice to read about that. But there were certain other aspects. I mean, I have anxiety as well, not in the same way as Roos does, but so I could relate to, you know, Roos struggling to sleep because she keeps having these anxious thoughts and such. And anyway, was also nice to read about the friendships in this, and also Rose has a boyfriend called Mart. It was also nice to read about him and her two friends, Madelon and Esme. And also it was nice to read a Dutch young adult contemporary, because usually when I read Dutch books they tend to be children's books, but I do have some young adult ones as well by Dutch authors. So this was a nice read, and yeah, I really liked it. Not for everyone, that makes sense, and some of it went into a direction that I wasn't expecting, but I liked it. So then the last book I read in January, at least up to now, is Amina's Voice by Hena. This was a buddy read with Charlie Brooke, and we both really enjoyed this book. Okay, we're back again, maybe. So yeah, in this book we follow Amina. She is Pakistani American. She lives in the United States. Amina hasn't been to Pakistan since she was 6. This is a middle grade book. In the beginning of this book, Amina is in middle school now, but things are feeling a bit different. There are a variety of storylines going on here. Here is the back, by the way. The first thing the back mentions is Amina's friendship with her best friend Sojin, who is Korean, and later on in the book, Korean American. So now that they're in middle school, yeah, so again, I can't remember where I was, because today seems to be the day that I keep having to stop and start because of other people, but it's okay. I think I was talking about, so Amina is now in middle school. Her best friend is Sojin, and in the book, Sojin suddenly starts hanging out with another girl named Emily, and she starts talking about changing her name to something more American because Sojin is Korean. Amina she's worried about losing her friend. Emily used to say not nice things to Amina in the past. So that's one storyline. There's another storyline with Amina's family. So it doesn't actually say that on the back, but not that late into the book that Amina's parents tell her that her uncles or the brother of her father is coming to stay with them. He lives in Pakistan, and so he's coming over to visit them in America and stay at their house during his stay there. And so the parents want the kids to be on their best behavior. And it's about cultural things of Pakistan versus America, and also about the family's faith. So they're Muslim. Being in the book, it's announced that there will be a competition at their local mosque, and the parents want Amina and her big brother to participate, but Amina struggles with, she is afraid of speaking in public or like giving a presentation in front of a crowd, and she really likes to sing, why it's called Amina's Voice as well, I think, as well as Voice in Another Way. So she likes to sing, but only on her own. If she has to do it in front of other people, she just can't speak, if that makes sense. I don't know if there is, I presume there's a word for that kind of anxiety, but or fear, or I'm not sure exactly what it's called, but so there's that storyline as well. So it's about a range of things, and I really liked it. Yeah, I really enjoyed this book, and Charlie did as well. So those were the 5 books. I feel like in January I didn't read a whole variety of genres, because it was mostly contemporary, and then the big non-fiction book, and then, well, there was one children's historical fiction, but also there were mostly children's and young adult books, other than the one adult non-fiction book. But hey, that is how it happened. This was not a typical reading month for me, because I was reading the non-fiction book for, well, at least half the month, maybe more. I can't remember exactly what day I finished it on. So I spent the majority of January reading that book, At least that's how it feels to me right now. Well, reading that book while reading other books. So yeah, that was definitely not a typical reading month for me. But it is what happened. So while I was reading a non-fiction book, I really wanted to read some easy on the brain books because I couldn't read the non-fiction book for too long each day because it just required too much brain power. So then I read some easier to read books. And then after I finished the non-fiction book, I really wanted to read some contemporary books. It's definitely an unusual month in terms of reading. Now I am currently reading The Wheel of Time Companion. I started this in the end of December, and I think I mentioned it in a video there. In the last video of December. I'm still reading this. This is by Robert Jordan, Harriet McDougall, Alan Romanchuk, and Maria Simmons. I'm here. I know this is not, because this is an A to Z of the whole series. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I talked about this in another video. I'll leave links down below. But with the TV show, I really just wanted to read something of the world. This is for fans only, and only read this if you've read the whole series or you will see spoilers. So I'm reading it from A to Z, but I am currently at J, although that is now, it's not quite the end of January, so I might read a bit more, which is, that's where I am. So, not even halfway through, but I don't think it's likely that I'm going to finish this in the next couple of days, so, but I do plan on finishing this at some point later this year. I don't know if that will be February or March, but yeah. So yeah, this is adult fantasy related. And then I'm also reading some non-fiction books, so, but I'm not that far into it yet. I'm there. This is Invisible Women by Caroline Criado Perez. I was inspired to pick this up after I saw Jack's video from Spec Book Joy. I already own this and I've been wanting to read it for a while. But she said she started reading it and she mentioned a few things about it, and so that made me want to start it as well. And so far it's really interesting, and I've only read, you can see I'm there, at the moment I've only read the first 2 chapters and the introduction and such, so I'm not that because I'm there. This is, I've just put a note here for myself because this is end notes and so like bibliography and sources and stuff and an index, and that's not stuff that I'll actually like read unless I want to look up something. So like that's where I can, where the conclusion ends sort of thing. But yeah, this is really interesting so far, but I'm only there, so and again it's not like this is not really a book either that you would just sit down and read a whole bunch of in one go. At least my brain can't do that, so I don't think it's like I'm going to finish this in the next couple of days, but we'll see. But I find this really interesting so far. And then I also started, because my brain, ADD, sometimes it just wants to start all the books at once, which doesn't usually work all that well, but yeah. This is Biased by Jennifer L. Eberhardt, PhD. And this says, uncovering the hidden prejudice that shapes what we see, think and do. It's about unconscious racial bias. Here's the back of it. And I'm there, so I've read the introduction and chapter 1 so far. So yeah, I'm not that far yet either. But again, I don't think this is a book that I would just read in one go, because my brain just can't process that much information in a short amount of time. So I also don't think it's likely that I'll finish that in the next couple of days. Especially since I have a couple other things planned for the next couple of days. Including editing these videos, hopefully. So I can actually have my January videos up like in a relative quick moment, as opposed to sometimes having them like the end of the next month sort of thing. And then there's 4 books here that are also non-fiction and then I kind of just want to start because my ADD brain wants to read everything at once. And that happens more often with non-fiction than with fiction. because non-fiction tends to be the kind of book that I need more time to process, so then it can help to switch to something different. So my brain also really wants to start reading these books. And actually in the case of this book, I did read, I want to say one chapter of this, like, I don't know, in 2019 maybe? Or 2020? Or was it last year? I don't even remember. So I'm showing you these, but I might not, you know, we will see, because I haven't actually counted any of these as like started reading, considering I haven't, it's more that I really want to, but like I've literally just only read the forward, and this was just one page. This is Neurotribes by Steve Sylvan, and I've heard such amazing things about this that I really want to start it. I feel like I need to at least read some pages in it before I actually want to count it as a book that I've started reading. But yeah, I might just concentrate on what I've already started. So we'll see. And then this is In a Different Key, Story of Autism by John Donovan and Karen Sucker. So I read this one, the beginning bit, a while ago. So I found this book at the library in Dutch. I don't remember when. I don't know if that was 2018 or 2019. And I saw the Dutch version there, I'd never heard of it. But I didn't have enough time to read it, so I had to return it to the library unread. Then I bought my own copy. Nowadays, you know, pandemic, so I'm avoiding the library for now. But yeah, so I, at some point, read this bit, and also I read a bit in other non-fiction books. And then it's just not working, and I have to stop reading them again, because my ADD brain, yeah. So maybe I'll get a bit further in this now, I don't know. But again, it's not a book that you would just, or maybe you would, I don't know, but I need a lot of processing power for non-fiction books. So yeah, for some reason my brain just wants to read them all at once. And I'm also highly anticipating Disfigured by Amanda Leduc, which is, you know, not as long as some of these other books. I haven't started yet, I really want to start it. But at this point, I don't know, I might progress more in one of the other ones and then feel like no longer in the mood to read non-fiction and I want to read something fiction. So, you know, if that ends up happening, maybe I'll cut this bit out. I don't know. And the last one is Bad Feminist by Roxane Gay, because I saw someone mention this in a BookTube video recently. And so I was like, yeah, I have that. I've been wanting to read it for some time. I also have a couple other books by this author. But this is this the first one? Well, I don't have all of her books, but I have, because it says here she's also written some fiction books. I don't have any fiction books, I think I have 3 of them, and I think they're all non-fiction. And I thought this was the earliest one, because I thought that's the best place to start. Yeah, so I saw this, someone mentioned this recently in a BookTube video, so I was like, well, okay, now I want to read that. So, yeah, will I read all of these non-fiction books relatively soon? Probably not. Feeling very self-conscious as somebody walks right by my window and is seeing me film. How do you feel about that? Does that happen to you? And when I say someone, I don't know the person who walked past, so a stranger. So, yeah, I've rambled on long enough now. So January was an unusual reading month for me, and we'll just see how things are going forwards. Yeah, because of the things I've read, I'm trying to think of if there was like a standout book for me. So nothing was really terrible. I think if I had to pick one book that I liked the best, it would be Hena on the Edge by AJ Sass. I also think this is the only book that I rated 10 out of 10? Well, I'm not sure about my rereads or the Imara book, but anyway, if I had to pick one book that was the best book of January for me, it would be this one. And I don't have a worst book. Well, the book I rated lowest is Helder het Hond, which I've already put those early books over there. So, but it's not that it was a bad book or anything. It was just, it had the lowest rating. But it was, I think, a 7 out of 10 or something, or a 6 out of 10, so it was not a bad rating. So, you know, a lot of, I think most books got a 9 out of 10 rating. But it depends which one you're talking about as well. So I think mostly 8s and 9s in January, but yeah. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I hope to see you in my next one. Bye!